I am fascinated to hear it. And obviously, I was there for a lot of that. And it's crazy that that's what it turned into. And obviously, I'm very happy you're okay. But you get to a point where, I hear all these people just, all they want is to make money. And they chase the dollar and they chase the dollar and they chase the dollar. And even if they find it, which most never really find that happiness or that satisfaction that they were looking for, that they think the money's going to bring them. And when they have that realization, it's almost like like a guy like Chris Weidman winning the belt in the UFC, and then you get it, and now you're like, now I've made it. And you expect to have this like epiphany moment, and then there's like a huge depression, I've heard, when people like achieve their goals, because they go, this didn't actually give me what I thought it was. And people will often chase the dollar at the expense of neglecting their relationships, their family, their happiness, and more importantly, their health. And for you, for a guy who had this business that you scaled and you got this life-changing check that you really don't have to do anything anymore, and then shortly after you have this health scare that you're like, crap, I might not even make it until tomorrow. What did that bring up in you? Like, where did your mind go? Like, what lessons did you take away that somebody that maybe is on that path, that all they're doing is grinding and grinding and grinding at the extent of losing their relationships with their family or letting their health suffer, so then when they do get the money, they can't even enjoy it? What, looking back, would you have done different, or what did you take away from there that you can pass on to other people based on the real wealth is actually your health?
Yeah, I mean, just to be full disclosure, so I was speaking at an event. You were at it, right? And I was like, God, I got this knot in my back I couldn't get rid of, and I'm not a whiner, but I was whining. People said, like, you were really, like, you were bothered by it. And I was like, it was insane pain. Like, and I'm not somebody to sit there and gripe about it, but it was killing me, and it literally was killing me. It was actually a heart attack. And so I spoke for 3 days while having a flipping heart attack. And, I still have a complete occlusion of one of my major arteries. It just blocked it right on up because I'm too thick-headed to go in time. It was 4 days later, and I finally went to the hospital because I was pretty much to the point where I could not move without being in a muscle spasm. And yes, I saw a doctor in that time, and they thought it was muscular, and they misdiagnosed it. So it was a heart attack. The thing I learned about heart attacks is it could be jaw pain, tooth pain, it could be back pain, it could be any pain. Like your heart doesn't have nerves in it. It shows up somewhere. And so mine was showing up in my back. And I tried to push through it. So that's lesson number one, is sometimes listen to your body, and it's okay to go to the hospital. I thought I was going to go there. They're going to tell me I was having a panic attack, and then I was going to be embarrassed. And that was pride. That was keeping me away. But I'll tell you this, I was in the ER, and you walk in, and there's this intake. It was about midnight, and I go into the ER just down the road from my house, and I'm embarrassed. My wife is dragging me in there, and I go up to the guy that's at the little intake counter, and he's like, your insurance card, what's going on? And I was like, I got this back pain, and it's kind of going into my chest now. And he was like, oh, let's just, puts on a couple electrodes. We'll do an EKG just to see. And then he gets stone quiet and starts staring at his screen, doing one of these things, and they're just kind of doing that. They're not looking at you anymore. And then a gal comes out from behind him, the ER area, and she kind of walks in and goes, sir, I don't want to alarm you, but there's a lot of people that are going to descend on you here. There's going to be about 20 people. There's going to be a lot going on. You're having a massive heart attack. And I was like, crap. So, of course, my wife's losing it, which sucks. But then you go back, and I guess the point is it's kind of a come to Jesus moment, right? It's like, okay, this is real. I stepped in it. I accept it. It wasn't much fear. Financially, we're fine. I have a really good estate plan because I'm an estate planning lawyer. Like, there was things that I wasn't worried about, but I'll tell you, one of the things that I was worried about was one kick Nick. I was worried about Nick. I was like, I need to make sure that continues on, and I wasn't convinced. I didn't have the final lease, and I was like, make sure that he gets that. So I was like, you're talking gibberish when you're going back, and they're going to do whatever they're going to do, and then and you have all feeling like hell anyway. And they gave me something. I actually crashed. My heart rate dropped, or my blood pressure dropped from something they gave me, and I went unconscious for a while and wake up. And now my kid's there. She's a nurse, so she knows exactly what's going on. And my wife, and I'm like, oh crap, just looking on their faces. It's like, ooh. But I wasn't scared. And I think that's one of the things is you want to walk out not with a bunch of regrets. I was a little bit worried about my buddy, making sure that was taken care of. So I was like, okay, there's a couple of I's that need to be dotted and T's crossed, but I'm okay with whatever comes. But let's see what's headed my way. I guess at the end of the day, there wasn't much denial about it, and it wasn't a big fear thing, and it wasn't a panic thing. I was chill because I was pretty comfortable with the way that I had lived my life to that point. What does it change? It changes. Oh boy. I think you just kind of focus and you, like for me, obviously grinding and doing stuff that's stressful on a continuous basis probably played into the heart attack. It's a hereditary issue for those that out there and you think, oh, it's, you know, you had high cholesterol, you must have diabetes. No, it was hereditary, something called LPA, lipoprotein A, that I've really elevated. It's an extra protein that's attached to your cholesterol. And I have really low HDL, which is also hereditary, which cleans out the LDL. And the testing that we were doing, I had a concierge doctor I saw every 3 months. We just didn't catch it. Like, shoot, I had the heart attack and I saw the doctor and he still didn't catch it. Right? It's just one of those things where they call it the practice of medicine for a reason, the practice of law for a reason, because we're always learning. And it's one of those things where you're like, oh, maybe I'm still on this planet for a reason. And so, one of the things I share a lot with folks, anybody that'll listen, is there are some tests you can take. A calcium test is like $100 and you can see whether your arteries have this stuff in it. There's a CIMT. It's a ultrasound that they can look to see what type of plaque you have in your arteries. And it's not what you think. When I was going through rehab, and I didn't have open heart, they just plugged up the artery. It's done. My right coronary artery. They just put a balloon in it, and I have lots of collateral blood supply that's being developed from the other side. So it had been going on for a while. So my body had already started to adapt. But when I was in the rehab, there's young people in there, skinny people, fat people, people that smoke, people that don't. And I realized something. You don't know. It could hit you out of the blue. I think it was Tim Russert, Meet the Press. He had a stress test. A week later, he dies from a heart attack. And he passed the stress test, right? Like, so he's doing everything that they're telling you to do. Sometimes these things come up and get you. So what are the tests that you can do? Calcium. You can do a little deeper dive into blood tests. There's a place called Function Health that I know that dives into them. You could do the CIMT, you could do the calcium scoring, and you could just say, hey, I'm just going to just see what I'm dealing with. Because a lot of it, heart surgeon actually told me this, it's about 50% is hereditary. It's roll of the dice. You could eat like crap, you could drink, you could smoke, but if you had the right genetics, you're okay. On the same token, you could eat well, you could run, you could do all these things, and if you have the wrong genetics, you're not okay, right? And it's not fair, but it's the reality. So I share that message out there a lot. And then with my business, I just find a lot of enjoyment in sharing. I look at it kind of, there's 4 areas, types of wealth. There's the financial wealth that everybody's familiar with, and we focus on money. And I always get this whenever I talk about this stuff. Somebody says, well, it's easy for you to say, right? It's like, no, I get it. A lot of people focus solely on money because it makes life better, right? If you make good money, life gets a little bit easier. Let's just be real about it. But there's also social wealth, having good friends around you, being good at your profession, those things that are kind of the ego. But there's 2 others that we forget about, and that's time. Time wealth is being able to do what you want to do when you want to do it. And a lot of times we sacrifice that for financial or social. And then there's health wealth. And there's an old adage, if you have a health problem, you only got one problem. If you don't have a health problem, you got 1,000 other problems, right? We don't want to have a situation where a health problem becomes your sole focus. And so there's a lot of studies out there. I started looking at this in light of what happened to me, where they look at your lifespan, and then there's something called your health span. And your health span is living life without a major health issue. And it's about 12 years less than your lifespan. And so if your lifespan, the average lifespan in the United States is 74, 76. Like, I know it's gone down, it moves around a little bit. Let's just say it's in mid 70s. That means that your health span is early 60s, which is around when people retire, which kind of stinks. So I'm going to say, enjoy life. Whatever you're doing, get it and do it before something pops up, because you don't want to be in a situation where you retire. You finally retire because you finally think you have enough, and you're like, got something that happens on your health, and all of a sudden you're like, gosh darn it, now I can't enjoy it. And you're like, I wish I had that time back. That's what you don't want to be saying. And so I'm going to say to folks, especially the young people out there, is be sensitive to it. Build your life the way you want it and enjoy what you do, and make sure that you're doing things that you want to do. Like, I was mid 50s and I was happy to I didn't have a bunch of regrets. I don't want to be that person that sits there and go, oh, I wish I had done this. I wish I had done that. Build your life to where you can do those things. And I know it's easier said than done, right? It's easy for me to say because I'm in a different financial position than most. But it's still true, is go out and do these things. You can't get time back with your family or with your kids. You got to do the things that you enjoy now. And a lot of people are like, but I need to get rich. I need to build this up. You're going to be okay. Like you want to have balance in those 4 areas.